is FSD Beta 11.4.9, and we are on the average profile. So, as I determined in my last video, I'm pretty sure those audible warnings are triggered when you're on a road that's not totally supported by Autopilot FSD Beta. So on this road, this is not a divided highway, so I think you get those audible warnings by default. This video is being recorded in Moultrie, Georgia. I recorded a video here about 6 months ago, and that was on 11.4.4. And with 11.4.9 out, I wanted to record it again. I will try and hit the same destinations, though I will admit I haven't watched the video since being made, so I don't fully remember what those destinations were. I know it was Chick-fil-A, I know it was a park, and I knew Lowe's was there. Can't remember if there was a fourth destination or not, but we'll see what we can do. So first up is Lowe's. Last time this area was under construction, and it acted a little funny. So I don't like the behavior with a blinking yellow light. I totally had time to go, but it stops for a blinking yellow with a turn, even when there's no traffic coming. Oh, please don't hit me. So, as always, look at the description below for the bookmarks and any post-drive information. And just watch the video at twice the speed or something. But otherwise, we'll see how it does here. When I normally drive around Plant City and Lakeland, so if the information about the multi-trip reconstruction stuff is accurate, then driving around with FSD Beta on in Plant City and Lakeland would yield more successful drives than that was a bad pothole, than other areas like here, because there's more Teslas in Plant City and Lakeland than there are in the sticks of Georgia. Moultrie is not a very, I don't want to say EV, I don't want to say that they're not EV friendly, but there aren't a whole lot of EVs here in the first place, let alone Teslas. Though I will admit I did see one at the charger in the middle of town, so that was kind of neat. So here we have some braking for a truck there, which I think the Mustang behind me interpreted it as you're tailgating me. But we'll see how it handles. I don't expect it to handle it well here, because the multi-trip reconstruction stuff hasn't had a whole lot of time to do its job. But let's find out. I know last time it had some issues. I will try and reproduce some of those issues, but no promises. Again, I also feel like Tesla is, to an extent, manipulating the routes to preference routes that have less disengagements, or at least are less complicated and more supported by FSD Beta. But that's pure conjecture. I don't have any information to support that properly. So I will, however, be able to test the theory that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, where the audible warnings, I think, come on when you're on a road like this, which isn't divided. There'll be a couple of spots where I turn the system on, where it's not a divided highway and where it is a divided highway. So we'll just have to watch and see. Nothing from the right, one black car from the left. Stopping is the right thing to do. Now it can go. Beautiful. Now here, technically, it should go through the roundabout, but last time it failed to do that. Last time it got into the right lane at the last minute and then did a hook back. Here it seems to be doing it properly. So there's the yield. And we're going to keep going. Nope, we're going to keep going. So I did push the accelerator there because I guess it didn't get a read on the other vehicle. And away we go. So the improvement over last time was the fact that it did not get into the lane, the right lane, and ended up screwing up the navigation. It did have a jitter trying to continue through the roundabout because it didn't know whether or not the other car was going to try and go ahead of me, which I can't blame it. It's a computer. It's going to be cautious. So I think when I go back, it's going to have me run through that again and basically do the same thing. Technically, there's enough room for me to make a right turn, but the car is understandably being cautious about it, plus the road looks rough. So last time all that construction was still there and it gave FSD Beta a bit of trouble. So when we come back, I think we'll have the same problem, but we'll see. So this is an example of a divided highway. So when we come back, I do not expect it to do an audible warning until I get to the construction. When I get to the construction, I expect an audible warning because that's what the cones do. But I do not expect an audible warning within 3 to 5 seconds of engaging FSD Beta. But we'll see what actually happens here. This is where we're turning because we're going to Lowe's. And again, the blinking light, it's going to come to a stop. Technically, there's tons of time for it to cut across the road. Was, if it hadn't come to a stop. But, you know, we're going. Come on. Nobody's behind me. There we go. I will circle around in the parking lot and pick the next destination. trip. And last time I had found a park which I don't have. I'm starting to feel like I should have paid for the premium connectivity so I could actually see the satellite view. That's normally the representation of a park. Alright, we're gonna go here and hope that is roughly where I was last time. Yeah, so I'm going to do this, but I am going, well, I kind of want to go through that roundabout. That's a park, because that's a baseball park. I'm going to stop the video and get my bearings. Okay, so I had to use my phone to look up where the park is. It's the Moultrie Main Street Park, which is like right down here. So the car will take me here, and then I'll have to manually take control to drive it in here. Or could I just do there? I deleted the wrong thing. That's beautiful. That's what I want. Can you get rid of that one? Yes, I can. Okay, so we're going to do that. But this dot here is actually a park. So we'll pull into the park and then I'll put in the next destination. And we're going to take the road that I came back from. And after that, we'll go to the Chick-fil-A. So, back and drive. And then I'm going to manually drive out of the parking lot. And I'm not going to re-engage Autopilot until I get onto this main street here. Because again, for me, the goal is to verify whether or not being on a divided highway is going to trigger an audible warning. Right? So here, if I engage Autopilot, I shouldn't get an audible warning because this is a supported road. So far, that hypothesis is correct. So yeah, so it looks like as long as you're using Autopilot in a way that the manual says is okay, and it's nice that it ignored that stop sign, you don't get an audible warning. Now here's construction. I should be getting over one lane. We'll see what it does. So I probably might have a disengagement here. Well, sucked. Getting into a faster lane, but we also need to allow for this guy to get ahead of us. So, kind of a dick maneuver on the car's part, but at the same time, that guy had tons of time to try and get over. And we're wanting to make a left turn at the light, so it needs to try and suss that out through the construction tomfoolery here. Which it does. Yay! Yeah. So that audible warning is because of construction cones. Too many red lights. So, a bit of a sharp left turn, but again, it's all construction, so the fact that the car figured it out at all is nice. Sharper than desired, though. So I hit the accelerator there because there was more than enough time for us to go through, and the stop was going to be sudden, and there was a truck behind me, and I didn't want to have a sudden stop with that truck behind me. But otherwise it would have treated the yield sign like a stop sign. So I think that's pretty similar to what it did last time, but there was the benefit of, when going in the opposite direction, it actually used the roundabout properly instead of the tomfoolery it did 6 months ago. So still some work needing to be done there. Last time when I was driving through this area, there was a lot of changing lanes away from merge, which was confusing as all get out. So we'll see if it does it this time, or if it maintains its lane better. It's actually interesting, some of the arguments you get into people with on the internet. I don't know about arguments, definitely interesting discussions. One person claiming that I must have been a terrible driver of FSD Beta is if I find that FSD Beta is driving better than I did, or something along those lines. But the reality is, you know, if you're driving around doing stuff like this, you may not necessarily know the area, right? And you might see interesting things every now and then, and you might want to stop and look at the interesting things, or crane your head in a different direction. And it's like the car slowed down from 45 to 35, presumably because it saw a speed limit sign. And I'm not gonna lie, my head was in a different direction. I was looking at something else, Honestly, I can't remember what it was I was looking at. But the car caught the fact that the speed went lower. So, you know, do you want to call me a bad driver because I was looking at something for a second? Or do we want to call FSD Beta more observant than me because it's always looking at the road? Could also be that I'm getting a little bit lazy about it, knowing that FSD Beta is going to catch those things for me. Though, I will say one problem I have in this area is the speed limits aren't totally accurate all the time. So I do have to intervene and adjust the speed limit from time to time. But so far, no disengagements, just a couple of interventions. That could have been more graceful. So now I'm in a left turn only lane. Yeah, left lane must turn left. So I need to get over into the right lane right now, which it did. Some argument, some debate on whether or not that was properly executed, but the maneuver was safe, there was no traffic. So I kind of like how that was handled. If my wife was in the car, there would have been some complaining, but it's just me. It would be nice if I didn't hit every single red light in the process. And we're slowing down because it needs to confirm the light is green before proceeding. Whenever there's a bigger truck in front of us. I do wish it handled that better. I ultimately hit the accelerator to get it to go. But I don't like the fact that I have to intervene at all there. I can understand why it does it, but I don't agree with it. It needs to be handled better. So we're gonna put it in park and trip. Going to go to Chick-fil-A, which is what we did last time. And that route is fine. Why would we? Because it wants to do a U-turn. Okay. No, we'll do that route. Alright. So now we're back in drive again. Now, assuming my hypothesis is correct, I'm going to engage FSD Beta, and within 3 to 5 seconds we'll get an audible warning because this is not a divided highway. I should have waited, but whatever. Anything? No? Okay. Maybe it's because there was a turn so fast. turned so soon after engagement. So this guy is 100% in my lane. Didn't even blink. Oh shit, that was a big ass bump. Now this is a 2-lane road where the lane in the middle is quite faded. And we do seem to be biased to the right a little bit, which is a little better than last time. It's also seeing occasionally the very, very faded line in the middle of the road. I think last time it stuttered here because the road is raised where, I don't know how well it's seen in the camera. The road is raised and I can see this side of the road just fine. But I can't see over the hump where the lane markings are on the other side of the road. And I really hope that shows up in the camera. But I know last time it stuttered trying to get through this intersection because it wasn't fully aware that the other side of the road existed, if that makes sense. Here it seems to show it. So we'll see how it does here. Sure wish I wasn't hitting every single red light in this town though. We wait. And then we go. Yeah, there's a correction. But it still handled it better than last time. So I think I'm up to 3 interventions now. One in each direction of the big roundabout, and then another following the box truck because it didn't start accelerating fast enough when the light changed. There needs to be some degree of trust that the vehicle ahead of you is not running a red light. I don't know what the best approach for that is though. Oh, there's a roundabout here. This is new and scary. Disengaged for a brand new roundabout, of which it looks like there's 2. So here we need to stop. And then we'll proceed. Well, I guess after that guy. So these roundabouts were not here last time. This is new. The car is mathing it out on the fly. And it did fine. So the first one it didn't do well because it's a blend of what you see and what exists in the navigation data. And the navigation data likely doesn't know that those roundabouts exist until today. So it was coming into the first one too hot and I didn't want to deal with that. But it's important to note the road geometry change stuff. Had the car approached it a little bit slower, it would have been different, but it is what it is. I would have to imagine after a couple of weeks or something it would start handling it better. At a minimum, the next time they update the navigation data, it will be better. I don't like those metal things in the middle of the road they used to cover holes. got a ladybug on the side of my car. I better not get ladybugs in my car. It's turtling on the windshield. It's a school bus. It's not going to be a problem. It's another school bus. That guy's parked. He's not going anywhere. Oh no, he's not parked. There's someone in the driver's seat. They just haven't started moving yet. There is no stop sign. Alright, so I'm gonna disengage it here and then use this dead end like last time. I did not do that very well. Shut up. Okay, so we are going to end trip, and I think last time I had it run me out this way. And I think that is what I did last time. Okay, let's do that, and away we go. Alright. So we're going to re-engage. This is a non-divided road, so in theory it should go boop boop. Last time it did not make this left turn properly, so let's see what we get here. There is no traffic coming. Nice. You need to yield, but there's still no traffic coming. Nicely done. Sort of. Now you need to hit the accelerator and go. That's not bad. It's a school bus. It's lots of school buses. So the big issue I ran into here last time, which we'll probably run into again here, is it went from 60 to like 30 to make a right turn without ever signaling. So I'll bring up my rear camera here. So there is a car behind me. Let's watch. I'm not being tailgated. They're far enough back, this should not be a problem. Yeah, I still don't like how late the signal, and it takes a long time to get out of the main flow of traffic. So not as telling as last time, but still not preferable. See the rumble pad. That caught me off guard. Cross traffic does not stop, so there's a truck. There's no more truck. We can just muddle our way through there. Waiting across the street like a good pedestrian. Cross traffic does not stop, but there is no cross traffic. Road looks nice and new though. This left turn coming up is kind of a bitch. So we need to creep forward a little bit. And I am now in the flow of traffic. And I'm going to hit the accelerator to go because there was a truck coming. That one's kind of a hard one to get through. My nose was in the oncoming lane of traffic, and there was a hill that they couldn't see that my nose was in the flow of traffic. So I either had to throw the car in reverse and back up, or I had to push the accelerator and go forward, and I opted to push the accelerator and go forward. this segment, and I think it was at least 15 minutes on the other one. It's a 45-minute video, so I think we'll call it there. So I want to go at a minimum up to here. Now I'm not getting any audible warnings or anything because I'm manipulating it with my hand, but my eyes are on the road, and I'm kind of doing a lot of this through my peripheral vision here. So we're going to add that and do edit trip. We're going to remove this. Done. There we go. There you go. So it is possible to manipulate this screen and not get an audible warning. Or even a nag the steering wheel, because again, when I do these drives, 90% of the time I've got a hand on the steering wheel on the other side of the off frame, right? Like I'm doing this number. Well, I guess you can't really see it, but I'm holding the steering wheel on the other side, and I'm keeping it torqued the entire time. But anybody who says, "Oh, I can't even look at the screen without it going boop boop on me," that it totally didn't go boop boop on me while I was using it. No audible warnings. Not even a wiggle the wheel. I'm not entirely sure his ladders are secured. I see some string. I just don't trust that string. That school bus is turning. It is not releasing any students, so no stop sign today. Faster here because I want to say that was a school zone, which I am now out of. And then here's another blinking yellow. Well, I'm not going to get another good example there, am I? So the last thing, and then I'll cut the video, is a stop sign that I think is being handled a lot better. I thought that was a police car. That is just a beat up car. It's another school bus. So up here at this fork in the road, this fork here, which we're going to come up on in a second, is a stop sign that is like a little angle towards us. So it looks like it's for us, but it's actually for the other side of the fork, right? Sometimes the car slams the brakes for it, sometimes it doesn't. The last few times I've been through here, there it is. And we're going to accelerate again. So the last two times I've gone through there, it didn't do it. This time it did. So it's a little hit or miss sometimes on whether or not it's going to do it. But that one's going to be a really hard one. The entire time I have had either Autopilot or the basic version of FSD Beta before it was FSD Beta, where it reacted to stop signs. It's always stopped for that stop sign. More recently, it's become hit or miss, but that stop sign's a pretty big test for me, and one of the reasons why I like being up here and testing it every now and then is because that thing is a headache. Because the stop sign is angled more towards us than the other road, despite the fact that you're not supposed to stop there when traveling in this direction. So that was another intervention. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and yeah.